Any farther north, and they would freeze in winter. Any farther south, and the habitat becomes too inhospitable. Florida's Indian River Lagoon is the Goldilocks spot for giant snook. There are plenty of Goliaths here, and we've got our David.
You might eat it.
It's huge! Oh man, look at the size of his head!
I've done a lot of fishing in a lot of places, but never have I seen anything like this.
Evolution.
The Indian River snakes 121 miles through Florida's Space Coast and Treasure Coast, from New Smyrna Beach to Jupiter. Ocean and beach and river and lagoon. The perfect place for Florida's East Coast holiday.
Some of the college boys are sneaking up on snook, one of the hardest fighting and best eating fish that ever swam down the pass.
Stop. Now we're good. You ready? All right, let's roll. My name's Captain Peter Deeks, and I'm a fishing guide in the Space Coast of Florida. I grew up in the Space Coast. I've been a full-time fishing guide for 13 years. The Indian River Lagoon system within the Space Coast creates an environment for the greatest snook fishing in the world. It's far enough south that snook don't die in the wintertime when it gets too cold. In this region, the fish grow fast, they can live to be very old, but it also has a lot of freshwater tributaries that provides habitat for a younger juvenile snook. There's lots of inlets that connect out to the ocean, so there's heavy spawning. So we have the numbers, we have habitat, there's lots of islands and sandbars and structure for snook, and there's a lot of bait, and it's a larger area. So if you were to create the perfect habitat to grow giant snook and numbers of snook, the Indian River Lagoon and the Space Coast would be it.
That's a big old fish right there.
For this mission, taking place in early summer, we're not just searching for any snook, we're searching for the biggest snook, which is to say, the smartest snook.
A trophy snook is 40 inches. There are lots of them, but they're so smart, it's hard to fool them. You might fish a full day and fish 140+ inch snook to get 1 or 2 strikes. It might take 100 casts, and when you fool them, I mean, it's one of the greatest feelings there is.
The Indian River is dotted with islands and sandbars, proper snook grounds.
You get on these big wide open sandbars where there is no structure other than sand. So it allows you to use this ultralight gear. So to catch a 40-inch snook with ultralight gear is like, I mean, that's what it's all about. So probably one of my favorite ways to target these big fish is on these shallow sandbars.
Check him out.
When we return, the brackish battleground that is the Indian River continues to deliver.
When I'm trying to find the biggest numbers of big snook on sandbars, first thing I look for is bait, big mullet. If you can find big baits in the shallow water, a lot of times the big snook will be around there. And another thing that I look for are schools of snook. It's difficult to catch a giant snook in shallow water if there's just one or two, because a lot of times you're going to accidentally spook that fish off. So I'll look for big schools of snook, packs of them, anywhere from 6 to 20 big fish that are working a shallow sandbar. Once I see those, then I'll approach to fish. So really what I'm looking for is clean water so that I can visually see the fish and see how many are there, and then I'll look for that bait. And then I'll actually visually look for those groups of fish.
Okay, but let's just be clear, friends. There's live bait, and then there's Peter's live bait. Every captain has their own magic, and don't expect him to show his sleight of hand.
So talk about the bait you use for snook fishing.
In general?
No, like the exact baits you use for snook fishing.
In general?
While a relative to Australia's barramundi, snook are only found in a small section of the Earth, the tropical Atlantic and its connecting estuaries, which is why Sebastian is Snook HQ.
Might have a fish. I got a fish. He's in close. Oh, he spit it right there. Oh, he's still chasing it. Don't move. He might eat it. He's huge! Yes. Whoa, look at the size of that snook. Look at that fish. Check him out. That's what it's all about right there. Thank you, old girl.
From here, friends, we head south to the river's end, a land of beauty, a sea of giants. Peter departs Melbourne, Florida, and heads south to chase snook at the Indian River's end.
A great time to catch some really big fish is near and around the inlets from about May through September. One of my favorite inlets to fish is Jupiter Inlet, Palm Beach Inlet. That area there has a tremendous amount of backwater, so the snook population is massive. So you get the offshore fish moving into the inlets, and you get the backwater fish moving towards the inlets. So it's just a phenomenal place to catch a lot of fish and to catch some really big fish. And the water's really clear, and it's really neat fishing. When you're fishing the inlets and you want to catch the really big snook, a lot of times you'll move away from the bulk of the schools. So if you fire your bait in there, you're going to catch fish after fish after fish, and you might have to weed through 30 fish before you get a really big snook. But I found that if you back off the school of fish, you'll find some little kind of corners and some pockets where the big ones want to hang out, and you can really specifically target those big snook.
Trophy snook that Peter fishes for are the smartest, the biggest, and the oldest.
A big snook is old. It might be 30 years old, 30 plus years old. That's a very smart fish. When you can fool that fish and catch that fish, it's an accomplishment. It's neat to see these river dinosaurs out here thriving, and it's really neat to be able to fool them. I mean, how many lures, baits, anglers has a 30-year-old snook seen? And they're not highly migratory, so a 30-year-old snook may have lived within a couple of miles his whole life, or her whole life. So that big fish has seen a lot. So when you can fool it, that's something special.
I think we got the one we're after right here. This is just incredible. It's crystal clear water, tons of snook around. Got a couple over 40 inches. Can't count that giant. Check out that old warhorse. That is so cool. Check him out.
When we return, the moment arrives. This is the one.
The one thing that's changed over the years is fishing pressure. More and more people are fishing, and people are getting better at fishing. If you look at my grandfather's tackle, it's embarrassing almost. You've got, braided Dacron line, heavy monofilament leader, funny looking lures, and they caught huge fish and lots of them. So the evolution of snook fishing is incredible just in the last 10 years. So we still have this tremendous population of fish, but they've gotten smarter. They've evolved. I've noticed these fish have evolved in their habitat. They've evolved on what they want to eat. how sensitive they are. We have to use lighter fluorocarbon leader. It's pretty cool to me to watch these fish adapt to us anglers. You have to get better and better and better as an angler to fool these fish, and you have to become a better angler than the next guy.
This is it, what Peter has been searching for. Somewhere in this school is the smartest snook.
Nice. Giant snook.
The giant gets wrapped around a dock piling. There's only one thing to do.
It's giant. He got tangled up in the dock.
When you hold a 40-pound snook, not only is there a challenge in catching them, which is exciting, and they jump and they rip out line, and you're using light tackle, those fish can take out 200 yards of drag like that. They are so fast in the water, so it's so exciting. But at the end of that battle, if you're able to land that fish, it's just special. Something about the magnitude of the size of the fish, it adds to the element of excitement. So for me personally, the challenge, whether it's me catching them or my clients or friends, putting your hands on a fish of that size, that's that old, after that exciting fight, I mean, it's one of the greatest feelings there is.
And it all happens in a place defined by dreams that once seemed impossible.
Cape Canaveral, the nation's missile and space center. These mock-up missiles at Patrick Air Force Base tell much of our progress.